recording that? Yes, I am. Okay, so in the NeuroBears family, we now have NeuroBears Cubs, which is for younger people, NeuroBears, and NeuroBears Unpacking Understanding. So we have covered all age groups, almost. I might need to write an elderberries course at one time. Um, NeuroBears Cubs. So NeuroBears Cubs for approximately under eights, and it is predominantly a discussion about their brain, and it's predominantly a discussion about autism, and that is mainly built on the fact that they're very unlikely to have an ADHD or many other co-occurring conditions diagnosis before the age of 8. It is not long, it is 10 minutes long, but it is fully animated and it is very pretty. It's got 7 pause points within the video where, a lot like NeuroBears, you stop and you have a pause and you have a moment of consideration and you think about the thing that you've just watched. It's got a much more structured workbook. It's got a story with it. And it's all up and done and ready to go, as it were. The asks are sort of, what do you think about your brain? What's your perfect environment? How do you like to communicate? What makes your sensory system feel happy and comfortable? What makes your sensory cars feel like they crash? And what do you think your brain's good at? And these are really, really simple conversations that we can have with incredibly young people and start putting in those building blocks of normalizing talking about your brain and talking about how you're accessing the world from the start, because we know from the research that by 10, they already know. So it covers communication, it covers sensory systems. We do autism plus environment equals outcome, different types of brains, what autism is, and meltdowns, and overload. And I've got a little clip.
If we think about our NeuroBears, brown bears are quite happy living in North America. That's where they're at home, in the mountains and by rivers. Pandas live in bamboo forests in China because they mainly eat bamboo. Polar bears live all the way at the top of the globe, in the North Pole, where it's icy and it's cold. If we took our bears out of their right environment, we would need to think about the things that we need to do to help them to live and be happy.
So, cubs, very animated, very cute, very, very sort of small and easy to access. We have really beautiful feedback from it, and it's just about a foundation to a conversation that you might struggle to have without a structure to it, and that's fundamentally what it is. NeuroBears. So NeuroBears is 3 years old as of Friday. I know, Tanya. Um, and the course that's now available is the new version of NeuroBears. We did not change the content in terms of the format, the script at all, but very rightfully so. There was a lot of feedback about poor sound, poor visuals, and sort of the flow of it. And it is fundamentally because it was created with what I had available at the time, in terms of my savings. So it was a product of its time. However, new NeuroBears is shiny and it's pretty and it's I'm so happy with it. It is genuinely beautiful. So I've always been forced to put an age range on things. NeuroBears is predominantly aimed at young people who are 8 to 14. There is flex outside of that because when we originally filmed NeuroBears, I think Zed was 11. And NeuroBears was never 4Z. I know, you're old. NeuroBears was never 4Z. Zed knew all of these things. Zed was diagnosed at quite a young age. They had me as their parent. They knew all the things. But had, it been available to them much younger, absolutely. That's sort of, who they were. And that idea that, we have young people who are 13, 14 that are being diagnosed 6 months ago We also have young people 13, 14 that have been diagnosed for 6 years. So it's that sort of that idea that in an ideal world, within a year or two of either self-actualization or diagnosis, NeuroBears is a really good sort of time to do that. It's 90 minutes long. It's 12 videos. There are the guides and the workbooks that I showed you in the original section when we sort of did the end of the license holders. And it's used worldwide. It's used worldwide by families, it's used worldwide by professionals. There are thousands of users. It's a beautiful thing. I have been asked to translate it. I'm not up for it at the minute. Um, it covers a brief history of autism, particularly sort of the ideas around that model that you're being diagnosed within. We talk about the DSM, we talk about the ICD, we talk about where, the idea of autism originated, and what that looked like. We then talk about a much more positive and strengths-based diagnosis model. You'll have seen part of the myths video earlier on. We talk about myths, we talk about neurodivergence through autism plus environment equals outcome, and how there are many, many different types of brains in the world. We talk about co-occurring conditions. We talk about sensory experience. We talk about communication and masking and spoon theory and burnout and identity. And we have lots and lots of sort of examples and personal experience.
Autism myths. Autism. The myth, the legend. So many people think they know what autism is. So we thought we'd debunk some of the most common myths.
Can you catch autism?
You are born autistic. You can't catch it or have it given to you via an injection.
Girls, they aren't autistic.
Yes, they are. Almost as many girls as boys are likely autistic, and everyone in between.
Autistic people don't want friends.
Everyone wants people they feel happy and comfortable with, to share their life's journey with. Some autistic people may need a large amount of time away from socialization or choose to communicate in different ways to maintain that relationship.
Autistic people are emotionless.
Oh, clearly not. I have no emotions about that. Of course they can. They express their emotions differently at different times or struggle to identify emotions. Often between other autistic people or people they are happy and safe with, they can tell easily if you're happy, sad, or anything else in between.
Do people look autistic?
No, you look like you, and autism doesn't have a look. Sometimes you can guess if a person's autistic, and autistic people tend to be quite good at this.
Autistic people avoid eye contact.
Some autistic people find eye contact painful, uncomfortable, and intimate. You often need to feel safe with that person. Sometimes it can look like making eye contact when we're actually looking somewhere else on the face, or even lip reading.
So Bears is there. Bears is sort of a middle ground. And as of today, we have unpacking understanding, which is huge. It's 250 videos, it's 20 hours of content, there are 42 topics, there are 29 neurodivergent mentors of varying ages, and we have said it's suitable for 14 and up. And I don't think there's a huge amount of flexibility in there. I think anyone under 14 would definitely be watching it under parental supervision, because we do go in depth into lots of different subjects. We have a huge amount to cover. We're thinking about well-being, neurodivergence, autism, plus environment equals outcome. Have you noticed a theme yet? The double empathy problem, the observational model, what we would tell our younger self, relationships, monotropism, sensory systems, masking, meltdowns, shutdowns, burnout, education, becoming an adult, and then, as somebody else phrased it, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but is in there as well. Lots of co-occurring conditions. So I've put up the breakdown of the relationship section. So in the relationship section alone, there are 23 videos. There are, I don't know, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other people in that conversation. So it's in depth, it's rounded, it is not going on TikTok or YouTube shorts. We're covering the nuance and we're going in depth as much as it's possible without creating something that's 100 hours long, although I probably could have. Um, there are loads of people involved. Some of them have been lovely enough to come today and share some time with us. Um, and I hope that, there are people that the young people feel like they'll connect with, people who they'll see themselves in, and, lots of stories that are relatable. Um, and they're all there. I think said really sort of hit the nail on the head where they were like, "You've done like autistic Avengers Assemble here," and I was like, "Yeah, maybe I have."
I,
Um,
I did Spider-Man. I'm the Spider-Man of the Autism Avengers. I'm specifically the Tom Holland Spider-Man of the Avengers.
it's important to. I'm sticking with Mystique. I'm still waiting for my autism superpower of being able to like shape shift. I want it. Um, all the NeuroBears courses are offering young people an autistic-led neuroaffirming psychoeducation from the very beginning of their journey through to adulthood. Not that we should ever stop learning, but I think, the over 25s, there's a lot out there. There's a huge amount out there that they could access and that I'd be very happy for them to access. Um, it was the young people who were really missing in our conversations. And they're so important. It's so important that we give them a community and we give them a foundational knowledge of their neurodivergence from within our community. Um, and that's it. That's sort of our day. If you have anything you want to like talk about, ask. Tigger's suddenly popping up on my screen. I feel like I might have like emotionally broken him today. Slightly. Sorry-ish. Talk to me, Tigger.
Oh, do you know what? It's so many people are saying this, but the importance of this, the beauty of this, the lushness of this, the fact that it's led by us rather than being, than children, awesome human beings being dictated to by people that don't get it, don't understand it. As I've always said, I'm honored to be in the company of people here that like I will keep learning from and I have learned so much from. And I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for that. But as we all do, like I'm fed up of seeing beautiful, gorgeous, slightly younger than me human beings. Am I the oldest one here? Slightly younger than me human beings.
I think you might be by about 6 months.
Oh wow, who are still baby Tigger though. Still baby autistic Tigger. And I think it was Tanya that first said that, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I seem to remember. Thank you. I use it. I use it all the time. Lost my track, haven't I? Yeah. What I'm fed up of seeing, as we all are, is children that aren't understood, aren't supported, aren't listened to, aren't acknowledged, aren't accepted. And the list goes on. This is lush. This is beautiful. This smells like a good coffee, a great slice of marzipan, and some dog's paws. And that to me, that's how it is. Yes, I am shattered. Emotionally, the things you talked about and covered, it shows you how this is needed and how this if this could be accessed in so many environments, we would. I mean, you are changing the future, but we would change so many people's lives, families, professionals, if only some professionals would open up their brains to understand that this is the present as well as the future. Do you see what I mean? But no, yeah, I am shattered. And like you, I'm stimming like that. I was like, wow, I was getting more and more eyes going as the day progressed, but it has been beautiful. And thank you so much for getting all of us together. I don't know what I agree with the Tom Holland bit. Oh yeah, but I don't know what Avenger I'd be. I'll just stick with Tigger. That's the safest one for me. But thank you so much. And anybody out there that's watching this, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. There are thousands of kids out there. If I use that term, well, we've been through it today, and I'll go on for ages, so I better stop. I am shattered, but thank you. And it's nice to know I'm the oldest one as well. I think by 6 months.
Thank you, Tigger. Tanya? Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I need a nap. That would be great. No, but yeah, I think it's the younger we can start, and I think it's probably especially pertinent for a lot of us that have like contributed, especially because an awful lot of us are really late identified. So I found, doing a lot of the recordings quite cathartic, is that the right word? Especially having to think about what you would tell your younger self, because this is stuff that I didn't get to learn until I was in my 30s. And I know there's a lot of people out there that were much less fortunate than me, but the opportunity to just start exploring and learning about yourself and creating that sense of identity and positioning yourself within others' experiences and looking and going, oh, there are other people like me is so empowering because I think, we've mentioned neuronormativity a few times in the chat, and what that does is if you're not autistic or neurotypical, you grow up surrounded by neurotypical people, so you know how to neurotypical. Nobody teaches us how to autistic. Like that's something that comes from accessing community and creating conversations. So if it does nothing more than inspire further research
Mhm.
and a little bit of conversation, then it's done what it was designed to, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sad?
Um, I've enjoyed being here. I've enjoyed being in the chat. It's really nice to see other people who understand are like me and like questions I can answer as well. And seeing the quotes from the research is like looking in a mirror of like me from 6 years ago. And I'm like, oh God. Um, and it's just nice to be in a space that, like Tigger said, it's like led by neurodivergent people instead of neurotypical people telling us what we are or how to use our language, as somebody else mentioned in the chat. It's been really nice to share each other's experiences and how much people and how many neurodivergent people like both aerial and musical theatre. That was an interesting correlation I saw along with having sheds down the garden that you work in.
There's definitely a collection of information and unpacking understanding about niche hobbies. Like and quite a lot of them are yeah, there's a lot of aerial in there. And
And
yeah, certain things.
when they asked that question in the chat, I was like, I don't know which of my hobbies counts as niche. Um, and then I realized
All of them.
all of them are niche. Even from doing something called like art fight, which is like where you trade art with other people for a certain month, like that's niche as well. Like all of it is niche, and like I'm very proud to be niche.
This What's a beautiful thing, isn't it? It's a beautiful sharing of space and communication. To answer your question, Joe, when the new version of NeuroBears went up, there was like a pay to upgrade cost for it. It was up for the month of April. But if you drop us an email, we can have a chat. Um, yeah, art fighting. This is the thing, isn't it? You're communicating through hobbies and other beautiful ways to communicate. Hope, Emma, do you want to add? I feel like I cut you off before. Hi.
Just about generalness.
Well, whatever I sort of stopped you to say earlier, but
And
then
what were you saying earlier?
any thoughts that come out of your
Dreams, is
head
it?
are beautiful.
Um, She's
Oh, goodness.
processing.
Uh, I can't remember what it was now because I got distracted sorting animal fact cards. Um,
I have enjoyed this process of being part of inputting because I feel like I wish Cubs had been around when Hope was tiny. And being part of the research and seeing the resources and like I've just been telling everyone, you need to get it, you need to get it. It's just been really good for learning and for thinking about our experiences and how especially me, was always told, "Oh, you're too sensitive, you're too stubborn, you're too something," and realizing actually I wasn't.
It's interesting to see the difference, like with me, because I've been brought up like being taught about like interoception and like understanding myself and things like that. See the difference, like how sometimes we're going through like checklists if you're feeling stressed about something or feeling something I don't know, and you're like, I don't know why I'm feeling this, and I'll be like, okay, if you is it because you're feeling like that because
Yeah,
you're
Hope will be
hungry
like, "Do
or
you need a
you're
poo? Do you
thirsty?
need a wee? Do you need to
Have you
eat?
got a
Have you
meeting
got a
or something?"
meeting?" She'll just go through all these checklists, and I'm like, wow, if I'd had that when I was younger, oh, I wonder how different my life would be. So I really hope that so many people use the different NeuroBears courses because it's like game changing. And I thought that Hope knew a lot of stuff, but it turns out I had not explained it really well. So it was good doing the stuff together because, like, looking through the workbook, there was stuff that I hadn't explained well to Hope, but she'd picked up from the workbook, and then we'd had like a talk through it. So,
But from hearing like Kieran, because you put on his
oh
courses.
yeah, or listening to when I'm doing like the inside of autism. So yeah, she it's definitely the workbook and everything. I think it's really, I don't know, I just love it. I just recommended it to everybody.
And then I think like I really enjoyed like helping towards the like NeuroBears courses, because I think like as I was like traumatized by school and like people didn't really understand me, like different people,
Or listen.
or listen, I think to like turn what was like not good experiences and like things that harmed me and try and make it so other young people like who are coming out like who are like in the next, well, not really next generation, like the next people who haven't been traumatized yet, or even people who have, like helping them understand about themselves and like trying to make sure they don't go through like awful situations like I have.
And that's the thing. I don't think we can save all of us from trauma. I don't think that's feasible, but we can validate people's experiences and we can give them a sense of community and we can give them as much knowledge and information as we possibly can, as soon as we possibly can, hopefully before, some of the lack of information causes trauma. Um, I think I'm going to share some other feedback in the last sort of 5, 10 minutes, and then I think we might finish slightly early because I think all of us are flagging realistically. And I'm not here to absolutely kill everyone's spoons for like the majority of the month. Um, so this feedback here is from the research, but I'm sharing it outside of a research thing because realistically, we are never going to publish it. So this research is, and the quotes are from phase 3 of the NeuroBears research. So after the research participants had taken NeuroBears at the end of 2023, we went back to them in September 24, and asked them sort of like if it essentially had made any difference to their lives. And this is actually adult feedback. So this is the feedback from their safe adults, which is another reason that it's probably never going to get published because I'm all about kind of publishing the child voice. But that doesn't mean we can't share it because there's some beautiful things in here. And I think it also shows that people can do NeuroBears literally once and it can have a long-term impact. When you buy the family model, you get it for an extended period of time. But that it isn't necessarily needed. That's to give people the opportunity to access it without having to worry about it, and worry about spending what might be quite limited funds. So NeuroBears help them explore positive aspects of their autistic identity. They became more aware of how their brain works and being able to advocate for themselves, that it's understandable not to use eye contact, and that's okay. It helped with their overall understanding and made them feel seen. It's given them the vocabulary to describe their experiences, wear their tinted glasses more often at school, because after NeuroBears videos, she no longer feels different. They mentioned having autism in passing, which was a huge thing for them. I think the course had gone some way to normalising the disability for them, as they'd previously not wanted to accept or discuss their diagnosis. Spoon theory has given her ways to understand and manage her energy. For example, after a busy day at high school, we know that homework will take away our spoons, but going to band practice afterwards will replenish them. Gave them a better understanding of their interoception, and now he checks in with how his body's feeling and tries to understand what signals his body's giving him. And the young person's more confident in discussing their needs with peers and teachers and recognising when they need a sensory adjustment. The young person's more open to talking about his experiences, which helps me able to support his regulation better. I think it was more the validation and feeling good for her that there was another space talking about the things she could relate to. And for me, it made me feel happy for her to have that. And the workbooks were good as she could talk through her experiences with me, so it helped me understand things from her experience and point of view. I realised I had assumed more than I thought. I liked that it was written from the autistic experience. I also liked that the bears were easy to relate to, in that, a bear isn't wrong, but it would struggle in the wrong environment. And there we go.